Rapids Nation, we are joined by goaltender extraordinaire for the Rapids, number one in your program and number one in a lot of your hearts too, Nolan Boyd. How you doing, Nolan?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are things in the lockdown treating you?
Yeah, things are obviously different. I think it feels like a lot like where we were last spring when we first came home. So it's nothing too new, but just taking serious precautions just so we can get back to the game that we love, and in hopes that we can finish the season on a good note.
Yeah. So I know you were dealing with a bit of an injury before we went into this situation. How you doing now?
Yeah, no, I've been doing a lot good, recovering well. Obviously, it couldn't have happened at a better time. I didn't get to miss any time, and I've been going to physio every single day, and they've been putting me through the work there, and it's been a smooth recovery so far, and I'm excited to get back on the ice once this whole little break is over with.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Well, listen, the reason that I wanted to chat with you, and you and I were talking off air about Bell Let's Talk Day is the 28th of January, and obviously a very important time. It's not just one day though. Mental health is something that we deal with on a regular basis, and I know you've had some experience around it that we wanted to share. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for talking about that. Tell us a little bit about the young Nolan, the Nolan before the diagnosis.
Yeah, so I was a pretty crazy kid growing up. Not necessarily in the fact that I would be rolling around in mud, but I was always pretty outgoing and would do a lot of things, and I was kind of the social butterfly in school and would give my teachers a hard time. But I was a really happy kid. I grew up in a really nice neighborhood in Fall River, Nova Scotia, and my parents gave me every single opportunity in life and to be successful. And when it comes to the sport of hockey, they've given me nothing but the best, so I can't thank them enough. And just growing up, extremely grateful for the opportunities that I had. I wanted to make sure that, moving forward in my life, wherever I ended up, I wanted to continue just to be a good person. And, I really pride myself on making sure that, people know that I'm always going to be there for them. And I come from a small community, and coming to Grand Falls like here, it's pretty nice to kind of have that small community feel, because, from coming from a small community, it just feels like I've been home the whole time. So obviously, like I said, growing up, I was quite the kid, and just I was always happy. There was some days where better than others, obviously, and that was something I learned how to deal with. But that was pretty much my childhood. I was very very, very happy kid.
So at what point do you realize that something's not the same here, and I got to go see somebody to figure out what's happening?
So I think in grade 11, the depression and anxiety really started to kick in for myself. I wasn't having a good school year academically. It was something that was new to me. I always enjoyed going to school and always being very social and having a lot of friends. And I went from being a super happy guy to a super, tucked away in his room all the time, not being as social as I was. And I knew something was going on with myself. But at the same time, during that year, back in 2017, 2018, it was probably the best year I've ever had in hockey. I was very fortunate to win a provincial championship that year, the Monctonian tournament, and go far in the Atlantics with Maddie McKay and Adam Fowle. So that's what kind of kept me, from being out of that darkness in such a hard time in my life, I think. And, moving up here that summer, it was definitely a big jump, leaving my family and friends for the first time. And I was moving up to northern New Brunswick, where I didn't know much about. I knew some French, so that was pretty good, but I was pretty nervous and scared, just knowing Maddie McKay was going to be here and stuff, and not knowing what to expect, because you hear so many stories about good situations with billets and bad situations, and fortunate enough, I've landed with some pretty amazing people here, Pat and Colette Kavanaugh, who have been nothing but outstanding for me in the last 3 years I've been here. So big kudos to them for making a huge adjustment of my life really easy.
Talk to me a little bit about the feelings before you went in to see the doctor. What were you feeling?
Yeah, so I think in the summertime, I went through a really rough patch, and about the beginning of August, I was doing things that wasn't, the best for me. And I really wanted to address it, because it was something that I didn't want to have to fall into. So I reached out to my parents and I said, like, this is what's happening. Like, we have to figure this out. And, they've been super supportive about the whole situation, and I'm very, very thankful to have them, because I don't know where I'd be without them, honestly, today. Like, they've been my rocks throughout this whole process. So we went to my family doctor, and, I kind of just told her, like, my feelings and my emotions, and, the things I've been going through. And I just kind of laid it all out there and just was completely honest because I wanted to really figure out what I could do to make myself better, both as a person and on the ice. She diagnosed me with anxiety and depression. And that was a big eye opener for me because, growing up, you hear about it and, you don't know how it really feels necessarily sometimes. And for me, it was happening for weeks upon weeks, and then, it wouldn't stop there. So it was pretty scary. And, there's those dark days where you don't think you're going to make it out of. And, you got to lean on the ones that you love the most, and that they're going to get you through it. And I think for myself, a big growth in my mental health is just being able to depend on myself and not have to depend on others to make me happy. I found plenty of different hobbies now that can keep me out of those kind of bad situations where I'm going to, think about bad things. I've been pretty lucky to have the support I've been having.
Did you have any concerns about what your friends or family may think about you once you were diagnosed with anxiety, depression? As there's oftentimes a stigma, right? Were you worried about that?
You know what? A little bit, yeah. Knowing my family, I've known them my whole entire life, obviously. And, they were always so supportive of whatever me and my sisters wanted to do or what was going on in our lives. So it wasn't necessarily my family members. Obviously coming from a suburb area of Halifax, the word gets out pretty quickly, and you're looked at by different people. And I was a little bit nervous, when I released my story about mental health. And at the same time, I've been so blessed, like I said, to have such amazing friends and such amazing support. And people haven't treated me any differently. I don't want them to feel like I'm, it's a shame to say this, but sometimes people look at, mental health as kind of like a liability. And that's what I don't want people to feel like, is I didn't want to feel like a liability to anyone. So just knowing that, I have so much support and I can depend on myself to be happy is something that gives me confidence. I know that it can give others confidence as well.
No, and it's nice that you got that support for sure. Pretty tough year professionally and personally as well. How's that affected you this year?
Yeah. So, this past summer in August, actually, when I really started to kind of notice some stuff about me, and halfway point of the summer, one of my friends had lost his life due to mental illness. And that's something that really hit close home to me. Knowing him and what he was going through and knowing that it felt like, like that guilt of, what could I have done, type of thing. But I think just, I wanted to get my message out just in case, if someone else was feeling that way, you have a voice, you can be heard. And, we miss him dearly. It was his 20th birthday the other day, and, we wish he was here. And, it was definitely tough. And I wanted to make sure that if anyone else was going through the situations that he was going through, that they didn't feel alone through the process. And, I think it's been a year of ups and downs, for me personally, but I've tried to manage it as best as possible, whether that's, losing friends or, winning games, losing games, getting injured. Towards the beginning of the year, I had a little bit of a stint where, I was kind of falling back in that little phase where I was before in the summertime. I was like, hey, I don't feel good about myself. And, I decided to take a personal leave from the team for a week and a half. And I think that was probably one of the best things I could have ever done for myself, because I came back here and I was mentally prepared, and I was excited to get back on the ice. And I've been on, the best stretch of my junior hockey career so far. So I think that was perfect for me.
And I guess knowing yourself is an important part, right? It's a key to this whole thing. If you don't know yourself and know your limits, then that could be a problem.
Exactly. And I think that was something that I always tried to preach upon myself, is just to make sure that, take care of yourself first. And, I'm the type of person that I hate letting people down. I can't do it. And if I do let someone down, I want to make sure that I can try and do something to fix it right away. So I'm very pokey in that sense, but kudos to Brad and the whole coaching staff and the team. They've been nothing but understanding and supportive about me and my mental health. And like I said, it's been pretty crazy, but at the same time, I'm very, very blessed and happy to have the support that I have, because there's no place like Grand Falls when it comes to support, and we're very lucky.
And so how do you keep yourself focused on a daily basis and keep a good positive mental outlook? You have kind of a daily routine that you got to go through?
Yeah. So, basically, when we're playing, it's at the rink early in the morning, and we're there from 8 in the morning till probably about 1 in the afternoon. And, that's a big chunk of the day gone. And I find that makes the days go by pretty quickly, especially when you're with the guys and you're having a lot of fun and keeping things light. But then afterwards, we try to do some schoolwork from 1 to 3. And then afterwards, I'll either work out, do some yoga or whatever, and work with Pat at the funeral home just to try and keep busy, just do things for myself and make sure I'm not sitting around and I'm being productive, because it helps build my confidence and it makes me feel like I'm getting stuff done, which is nice.
So do you think that there's enough resources that are out there today, especially for youth? Certainly there's a lot of our youth, I think, today that are feeling kind of the same way, especially in the last year with all the isolation and all the things that have been happening during the pandemic.
Yeah, no, I think it's so hard. I mean, everyone has a part to play when it comes out to getting help. We all have the resources, whether that's seeing a therapist. I know for myself, I see a therapist, and that helps me tremendously. And I think, like I said, going back to everyone has a part. For me, I had people guessing for a long time, like, hey, like, what's wrong, Boyd? Or like, talk to me type of thing. And, at the end of the day, like, it's up to ourselves to really reach out and make sure that we get that step in the door and make sure we go get that help. So I think all the resources are there to go get help. And I think obviously with the year that we've had in the pandemic, it's made things a lot different for people, whether that's, sacrificing time with your friends and family, doing the things that you love. Like, it's tough. And I think it's been a year of growing for a lot of people. And I think people need to take their personal growth into account and make sure that they know that just because the world's kind of slowed down in the sense that it might not be the same, doesn't mean that you as a person have slowed down in your development. And I think that is something that, that should be something that makes you happy, whether that you have negatives that you've grown upon and then you've got the positives that you've built upon. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we know ourselves best. And what might work for me might not work for you. So it's kind of just, making sure you have that mindset of, getting up, finding something that's going to be best for you during that day and moving forward.
Kind of touched on a little bit, I think, in the next question that I had is, your advice for somebody who's in the same situation that you found yourself in. And what advice would you have for somebody who's maybe on that brink of figuring that maybe I need to do something, but I don't know what to do or where to go?
Yeah, I think just having that mindset of, waking up it's tough in the morning sometimes, especially when you don't feel your best and, you feel like you got to force yourself out of bed. And sometimes, you just gotta bite the bullet and just give her. I think, I'm very lucky, like I said, to have such a good support system. But if someone's in a different situation, I mean, obviously, a close friend, everyone's all ears, it doesn't matter what the situation is, you're always loved. And I know for myself, I've been blessed with the amount of support that I've been getting and the positive feedback that I've had through sharing my story. And I think that was something too, like when I shared my story, I wanted others to feel so comfortable and make sure, that they know that they're not alone in their situations, because, what you may be going through, it's normal. Like it happens. Like, this isn't just you. Like, don't sell yourself out because you're having these problems, right? And I know for myself, when I released my story, I had so much positive feedback and people sharing their stories with me, and it made me felt so comfortable, because before I was so scared of like what are people gonna think of me? Like, what are and just the positive feedback has been outstanding. And I continue to want to be a mental health advocate, because I find it so important nowadays with everything going on, and whether that's through social media or, at school, it doesn't matter. It's such an important part of our life is now just being mentally healthy. And I actually had the opportunity to talk to a lot of good people. I had the chance to talk to a professional goalie, Ben Meisner, who goes through the same situations. He released a story that was very brave of him. It was amazing. And I actually had the chance to speak with Kelly Rudy a couple of weeks ago. So that was something pretty interesting. And just knowing that not just athletes, but also people that aren't maybe in sports are going through the same things is something very comforting. And I think that we should all take into account that, we're not alone ever.
So today, Bell Let's Talk Day, I know you're a pretty active guy on social media. What are you doing today that people can look for?
Yeah, I think I'll definitely be firing out a bunch of Bell Let's Talks. This is a big day, I think. Obviously, every single day should be a Bell Let's Talk Day, I think. But this is great. I think what Bell does with Bell Let's Talk Day is amazing, and finding solutions and breaking the stigma and all that stuff. It's quite amazing. And, for myself this year, I really want to make sure that I reach out to everyone and make sure I just thank them, because I don't know where I'd be without them if I hadn't reached out for help. It was a scary time in my life, and I'm just so grateful for the support that I've had over the past couple months. Just being accepted for the person that I am today and growing in the person I am today is something that, I really am proud of myself for. And I don't give myself enough credit sometimes, because I've made a lot of negative mistakes in my life, and, I'm human. And it's hard for me sometimes to accept those negatives that I've, made in my life. And that was why I beat myself up so much, is just because of that. So I'm really happy and really excited for the day to come. And I hope everyone, can, if they're, thinking about maybe telling someone that they're going through mental health problems or reaching out for help, like, kudos to you. It's not easy, and, you're going to get through it 100%.
Well, hopefully we're going to see you back out on the ice soon, and we'll get through this, and we'll look forward to cheering on the team again. Hopefully sooner than later, I think. Hopefully. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hey, listen, thanks for taking some time this afternoon to chat with us. I really appreciate your time. Stay safe.
Yes, you too. I appreciate it. And, I hope everyone's doing well during this tough time. And, we're going to get through this as a community and as, a whole province. It's definitely weird times. I just want to thank you for taking the time to, interview me about my story. And, it's been a crazy journey so far. I just want to give all my love and support to everyone in the town and everyone back home. So thank you.
We'll see you soon, bud.
All right. Sounds good.